And Maribou says, where did you get the money for the rehabs when you were first starting out? Did you or do you use private money or hard money lenders? Did you just not take the houses that needed lots of work in the beginning, or would you lease option those houses out regardless and let the tenant buyers do the work? Do you ever use lines of credit for the rehab on an owner finance or lease option deal? Okay, so I'm always saying that you don't need money to get into real estate, but we all know that some houses just need to be flipped. When I started in 09, I was using mom's money. When I started flipping by myself in 2014, I was using my money, okay? I did my first deal. I made $15,000. And instead of taking that $15,000 and taking myself to Cancun or Vegas or Italy or somewhere on a great vacation, or instead of buying myself a new car, or, I took that $15,000 that I made on my very first deal and I put it into the kitchen and the bathrooms and the paint on my first flip house. I didn't use mama's money. I used my money. And I flipped another house that I had under contract. I was almost up on my time before I had to start making those payments. But instead of making those payments, I called my seller, who happened to be my cousin, but my cousin like 4 times removed, so we're not even really cousins, but we say we are. He had saw one of my Facebook posts, and I got his house under contract on St. Patrick's Day, and I closed on my first deal May 13th, so 2 months later. So I only had like 45 days before I was going to be starting making these payments. So I called him and I said, I don't have anybody because your kitchen is hideous. But what I'm thinking about doing is, if you'll give me another 3 months, I'll flip this kitchen, I'll flip these bathrooms. I've done it before, and then we'll find somebody that's going to want to take this house. So I'm going to need 3 more months before I make my payment. So I renegotiated. I told him that I was going to be putting my money in. We signed the full-blown contract. I filed it at the county so that I was on record, because I had my money involved in this property now. And I spent my $15,000 to flip his house. And then I found somebody that gave me $40,000 on top of my purchase price. They bought it for $169 and he owed $131. So not quite $40,000, but I had $15,000 in the house, every last penny in that house. But that means I still made $25,000. This is the house that I'm talking about. I made $23,603 on this house right here. And there's the kitchen before and the kitchen after. Okay? $23,000 I made on the house. This was, I had the 15 spent. Trying to think of how I got that 15 back now, because I didn't make 8,000 on it. I made 23,000 on it. Now I can't remember how. But regardless, I definitely used my money to flip this house. All right, and then I got this $23,000. Maybe we changed the purchase. I can't remember now. I can't remember how I did it now, but I definitely used my $15,000, and then I got a check for $23,000 and sold the house to a pre-qualified buyer. I frame my firsts. I've got my first $13,000 over there. I got my first $23,000 right here. I remember how I got that other 15 out of that thing now, though. Dang. But I used my own money. I did not get private money lenders. I don't want to borrow anybody else's money. And I know that with that $23,000, I kept like $20,000 of it, and I took $3,000 of it, and I started doing lipstick on a pig flips. so that instead of having this big bulk $15,000 of my money involved in these houses, I would have $3,000 involved. Then if somebody gave me $10,000 to move in, I would actually make $7,000. If I had $3,000 in a flip and just lipstick on a pig, like flipping whatever really needs to be done, not every freaking thing, and they gave me $15,000, then I made $12,000. If the spread between was 131 and I sold it for 169, but I only had 3,000 involved in it, then I still made a whole lot more money. Okay, so I self-fund mine. Especially in the beginning, I was self-funding my flips, and it is stressful, and I would not recommend it. If anything, do a lipstick on a pig kind of flip. If you get a house and you know it needs to be completely gutted, it's disgusting. Exactly like in your question, Maribou, let the tenant buyers do it. If they owe 131, you get it under a lease option. Find somebody that wants to buy it for 149 from you, and let them do the $15,000 or $20,000 of work that needs to be done. Maybe instead of getting 10,000 down from them, maybe you get 5,000 down, and in a year you can come by and check and make sure that they redid the kitchen. In a year or in 6 months, you can come by and check and make sure that they redid the bathroom. Okay, you could totally do that. You really don't need to do a deal to make 15,000 to invest it to make 23,000 and keep rolling like that. You don't need to do that. You could find a house like that first house that I did. I had no money invested in. I made 15,000 on it. Trust me, that was a lot more fun to buy a house that didn't need any work and still make 15,000 to buy a house that needed a lot of work and make 23,000. It's a lot more fun to get paid when you don't have to do much than it is to get paid when you worked your tail off. Okay? So I would highly encourage you to buy happy houses in happy neighborhoods that don't need any work, or they need a new back porch, or they need 2 new windows, or it needs a new floor in the kitchen, or it needs new lights and new faucets because they got the gold stuff everywhere, and it needs new door handles. But you could do it you could give your handy guy $1,000 and he could go and get all the gold fixtures out of the house and put, some Lowe's or Home Depot or, whatever silver stuff throughout the house, and then bam, everybody wants it because now it's not dated. You would be really surprised at how far new knobs in the kitchen, new doorknobs, new faucets, new toilet paper holders. You'll be really surprised that little bit of, just a little bit, makes everybody go, wow, this house looks fantastic. Oh, I could do that over there. And then I could do this over there. Oh my gosh, honey, we've got to have this house. Yeah, you do. Okay. Try to get the houses that need just a little, just like an afternoon worth of work, not a month and a half. Okay. If anything, sometimes I bought houses and the appliances look like they came over, like on the ark or something. Just get rid of the appliances and say, bring your own. And it makes everything look so much better because that ugly stuff is now out. Sometimes I'll buy houses and they're, to my shoulder level, and I'm kind of short, but, they're stacked up to stuff right here. And just send in a dumpster and 2 dudes over there for a day and cleaning it out. Suddenly people are like, yeah, I could really see what you're going to do here. I could really see that I can do this, and I got a buddy that'll do that. Those are good tenant buyers. Lots of tenant buyers are actually handy with their hands. They're already plumbers, they're electricians, they're handymen themselves, they're mechanics. but they all have friends that are plumbers and electricians and handymen and mechanics, and they all hang out. And on Saturdays, they get into a project. They either work on somebody's truck, they work on somebody's, van, they work on somebody's bathroom, they split a six-pack and a beer and a six-pack of beer and a pizza, and they leave their house and their wife and their kid and go over to somebody else's house and tinker around. Let them do it. Let them do it. It's going to benefit them. When they go to get that mortgage and they've got a brand new bathroom and a brand new kitchen, and of course they pulled all the permits and stuff, it looks better on the appraisal then. Because now they're not compared to the houses that haven't been flipped, that a wholesaler got a hold of and somebody bought for 50 cents on the dollar. Now that house is compared in the comparables to the flipped houses, to the ARV houses, to the after repaired value houses. All right? And that makes the house so much better. So much better. Thanks, Gigi. Thanks, Deb. I was talking about you earlier. Were you on here then? But anyway, you can use your money. Jason loves to talk about private money. I just don't want to borrow anybody's money. I don't want anybody else's money in on my deal. When I make that money, when I get that check, that's mine. I don't want to have to pay anybody points. I don't want to have to calculate interest. I don't want to have to do all this stuff. Take $3,000 and then get a tenant buyer in there that'll give you $10,000. So you got your $3,000 back, and let them continue fixing it. Remember, Lowe's and Home Depot were created, they live and die by the weekender, by the do-it-yourselfer, by the home owner. And every woman in America has watched those shows enough to know that she wants to do a little project. And she wants to see how handy her husband is. And she wants to do this, and she wants to do that. And she's got a brother that'll come do this, and blah, 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 blah. They love to get into these houses and put their own touch on it. I flipped a house. Another time I flipped a house. We flipped it after we got back from our honeymoon, so it had to be December of 15 going into January of 16. We flipped it. It had pink walls when I got it. And I paint everything beige or gray. Hey, Suzette. And when I paint everything beige or gray, that's because people just aren't really attracted to pink. But when they walk in, like these walls are beige and white. They're plain. So that when a woman walks in, she goes, I'd paint that wall red. Good, do it. She walks in and she goes, I've always wanted a yellow kitchen. Good, paint it. She walks in and she goes, oh my gosh, all of my knickknacks are going to look so great on these counters. Do it, put them there. But when you walk in and the house is pink, she goes, oh my gosh, why are the walls the same color as Pepto-Bismol? I don't want this house. It needs way too much work. You've just lost your sale. Okay, so when I flip a house, it goes beige or gray immediately. And it stays that way because I want her to nest in that house and make it her own. Okay. And there's a whole section on flipping and general contracting, and I give you exactly the beige and the gray that I get. I give you the carpet that I get. I've even recorded some calls with my contractors so you can hear me talking to them. Okay. Because I don't want you to go into any of this blind. I had to figure it all out the hard way. Okay, it took me 5 years to flip my first house. Shouldn't take that long. It would take us 3, 4, 5 months to flip a house. That's why we could only do one a year. Took forever. It was a really long way to get rich. Okay? That's how I went broke trying to get rich. And I was buying those other houses and doing the land and all that other stuff. But anyway, I give you, in First Deal Done Fast, there's a bonus section on flipping and what you need to do and how you need to get bids and how you're going to find good contractors, because Lord knows a good man's hard to find, right, ladies? And a good man that's going to show up and be sober and skilled, you need some help finding those fellas. All right. And I am lucky enough that I have found some. I've been through some yahoos though. So I tell you how I do that. I tell you how I organize it, how I stay on top of it. All of that stuff is in there in First Deal Done Fast. But I would really encourage you not to put a whole lot of money into these properties until you're ready. Do a lipstick on a pig in the kitchen, doing the countertops. Then do another lipstick on a pig in a kitchen, doing the floors. Then do another one on another house in the kitchen, doing the appliances. Then do another one, lipstick on a pig in a bathroom, redoing the tile. Then do another, like, do a whole bunch of little lipstick on a pigs, doing 1,000, 3,000, you know, whatever, before you take on a $50,000 flip project. If you've already done 5 or 15 little guys and your own house included, okay, maybe you are ready for a $10,000 flip, but don't go from watching the shows to going through my program straight into a $50,000 flip, because that just sounds like a disaster. Okay? And I don't want you calling me like, oh my gosh, why didn't I just do a lipstick on a pig? I don't know, because I told you to do the lipstick on a pig, but you thought you had it. So let's see you do it, baby.